Hey guys, welcome to the first edition of Coffee Talks with Jaime, okay? I came up with this idea the other day, actually, because one of the things I've realized recently about myself, well, come on, let's be real, I've always known this, is I'm a talker. I'm not just a talker, but I realize that I learn by talking. Ideas that I have in my mind materialize when I speak about them. And it's overall a really good method for me to communicate. And I also feel like it's going to be really good for you and I to just sit down and talk real talk. All right, that's my goal here. This is going to be real talk conversations about all things health, fitness, strength, okay? And I have multiple cups of coffee a day, so I'd love if you join me. Grab yourself a hot cup of joe or a tea or something, and we're going to get real. All right, so today we're going to talk about goals. It's January 4th, and we're going to talk about goals. But before I get into that, this is clearly going to be on YouTube. And so please like, comment, subscribe, all those things I've heard you're supposed to do on YouTube in order to build up your YouTube channel. So do it, please. That would be awesome. And let's talk about goals. All right. So my husband and I were actually just talking about this. I talked about it with my friend Maggie, you might seen on Instagram Live. And I've talked about it a ton with clients because every single time I get a new training or nutrition client, the first thing we talk about is goals. We set some goals, and everybody has a training document and everybody sets their goals on the training document so them and I can see it. And it's a constant conversation in my job. All right. But my views on goals and goal setting have grown and shifted over time. And it's something I've become really passionate about because I really believe that when you begin setting goals, you're really setting yourself up for how you're going to be able to succeed in those goals. Okay. So right now, the hot topic is goals. The hot topic is New Year's resolutions, okay? And I'm a big believer that we don't have to create resolutions or goals if you don't feel passionate about it, okay? Don't create some kind of health and fitness goal or any other goal just to come up with something, okay? Create it because of something you actually want to accomplish, all right? And so when we're talking about goals, and especially when we're talking about health and fitness goals, something that I've really realized is that when it comes to your aesthetic goals, I'm going to use this word a lot, goals. When it comes to like aesthetic things that we want for ourselves, whether it's right or wrong, we tie those so much into our self-worth, okay? So imagine a time where maybe you wanted to lose weight and you either weren't able to, or maybe you were able to, but it was super tied to your self-worth, right? If you failed, you felt like a failure, okay? And if you succeeded, it made you feel like you're walking on water, right? The ways that we view our bodies is so like intricately tied into our self-worth. And like I said, right or wrong, that's a whole other discussion. But the fact of the matter is that's what it is. So while setting a financial goal of like a very monetary number-based goal might make sense. I want to save $10,000 this year. Okay, that might make sense. But when you translate that into health and fitness and your body and your self-worth, it doesn't make as much sense to tie these goals so rigidly to numbers. So the example I'm going to use that's completely arbitrary is losing 25 pounds. I'm going to lose 25 pounds by such and such date, okay? There's nothing wrong with that desire, but I believe that we need to workshop that goal and really kind of shift a little bit how we view it. Because if you don't lose 25 pounds, if you tie that so closely, rigidly to this number, and you don't end up meeting that goal, or your vision kind of shifts throughout the year, are you going to end up feeling like a failure? Number one. Number two, are you going to be setting yourself up to engage in habits you normally don't do all at once? So this unsustainable kind of snowball, right? That is going to end up crashing and burning because it's not something you've ever done before. I saw a meme recently. It was something like, January 1st, I'm ready to like put myself in all these different routines that I've never ever done before or something. I'm not very funny. So I don't remember exactly what it was, and I didn't put it in a good way. It was basically the idea of like this joke of like, oh yeah, I'm just going to, charge in like a bull in a china shop. And it's not necessarily the best way to do it, okay? So what I want to talk about is how to really take your goals and workshop them to create goals that are more action-based, okay? So let me get my marker here. And this was something that my friend Maggie and I touched on briefly in our Instagram live the other day. So what I like to do is I'm going to use this 25-pound goal and a very large permanent marker, which is unnecessary, but it's very dark and you'll be able to see it. You're lucky you can't smell it right now. It's one of those ones that has that probably dangerous smell to it. Anyway, so I'm going to take this goal of 25 pounds, okay? So let's say your goal is, I don't know if this is backwards for you or not, but I'm not going to try to write backwards to make it forwards for you. My apologies. 25 pounds. All right. Let's say this is your goal. And I don't know what your time frame is. Maybe by St. Patrick's Day, maybe by mid-year, maybe by the end of the year. You want to lose 25 pounds. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this goal and I'm going to put quotes around it because we're going to completely change this. Okay. And we're going to put it into a bubble. And the reason we're putting it into a bubble or a cloud is because it's still there. Okay. It still matters. And I like to call this, I was calling it a nice to have before, but in my conversation with my husband yesterday, I realized I really like the word vision. Okay. So this is your vision. Whatever your reason is, you want to lose 25 pounds and that's your vision. Okay. So we're going to take this and we're going to ask ourselves why. All right. So I got an arrow coming over here. Why? And this is a big, important question. All right. Your why is really super important. And a lot of times what comes out of your why is your real reason for having this goal or vision. Okay. Your why is when you get to talk about your feeling words. Why do you want to lose 25 pounds? Okay. Most likely it's because you want to feel healthy. You want to feel in routine. You want to feel like this version of yourself from maybe high school or college when you were, a lot of times people want to be smaller or leaner or just generally healthier, more energetic, more active. Okay. What are the ways that you want to feel? All right. And you can write down from this point, you can write down some feeling words. I want to feel blank. Okay. How do you want to feel? All right. It's okay to want to feel lean. It's okay to want to feel smaller, but you have to go back to that why question with a lot of these. Okay. It's kind of a bouncing back and forth. Is it really that important? And why do you want to feel that way? Okay. Most likely you want to feel healthier. You want to feel energetic. You want to feel confident. You want to feel beautiful. Okay. These are all things that we want to feel that we think losing 25 pounds is going to help us to feel. Okay. From here, from these feeling words, we're going to go over again. I got another arrow with my stinky marker. And this is where we're going to create some actions. This is the most important part of your goal setting because nothing happens without action. And we don't want unsustainable actions. We want actions that make sense for you, make sense for your life, okay? So you're going to create some actions. And before you create your actions, something I want you to remember, let's chat. When it comes to creating actions, something that's really important to remember is that when you're going into any journey that is fitness, health, nutrition related, I want you to remember that everything works. Literally everything works. Keto works. Tracking your macros works. Strength training works. Training for a 5K works. It all works when you're consistent, okay? Literally everything works. And the reason I'm really drilling that into your head is because we're constantly flooded with, especially with social media. If you're on Instagram, we are constantly flooded with the best ways to do things, okay? This is what you need to do. No, this is what you need to do. No, this is what you need to do. And I'm here to tell you 100% real, honest, real talk is what you need to do or what you should be doing is something that you enjoy, number one, and something that you can sustain, number two. So if you hate running, then signing yourself up for a couch to 5K is probably not the best thing for you, okay? If you hate strength training, maybe getting into a gym and hiring a trainer to learn how to do barbells is not for you, okay? If you love carbohydrates and pasta and cookies, then going keto is probably not for you, okay? It will work if you're consistent with it, but it's not going to work long-term for you if you can't sustain it, okay? Really super important to remember that sustainability is key. And another thing going into this whole idea that everything works is that, yes, everything works, but the fact of the matter is, so this is something you'll hear a lot of people say. You'll hear a lot of people say, keto worked for me. This worked for me. Well, that worked for me. Okay. It's very often true that it's not certain diets or exercise programs or whatever that work better for one body versus another body. It's more so that every single method that you might choose has pros and cons. All right. Every single one has pros and cons. And it's a matter of an individual preference of which cons you're willing to manage because you really enjoy the pros. So a pro of a low carb diet is that you don't really have to do much thinking throughout your day. You just have to be able to say no a lot of times. But it's a very simple rule to follow. And people who are very busy with their lifestyles, they just want a simple rule to follow. And that is no carbs. Cut out pasta, cut out breads, cut out everything that's heavy carb, okay? And that's an easy rule to follow. Another pro is that it works pretty quickly because when you cut carbohydrates out of your body, you lose water very quickly. And so you see this initial drop in weight, which is typically not fat. It's typically mostly water, but seeing that on the scale is motivating and therefore people keep going, okay? But the cons are that you're restricting an entire food group. The con is that you can't really be flexible. You can't have evenings or weekends or basically any time where you can have some flexibility in your diet without feeling like you cheated or that you're bad somehow and that messes with your mental health, okay? There's cons for everything. Those are cons I'm not willing to manage. I don't like those pros enough, okay? Tracking macros is something I enjoy. The cons of tracking macros are that sometimes it can feel very tedious in the beginning. It can make you feel sometimes a little bit numbers obsessed at certain times, and you really have to check in with yourself on that and learn how to manage it. But the pros are that you're actually teaching yourself about nutrition. You're learning about the actual macronutrients that are in foods and how to balance them on your own. When you can't track, you kind of still have a big picture of nutrition. That's a huge pro for me. Another huge pro for me is the flexibility. You can be insanely flexible with a tracking mindset, okay? So for me, it works for me because I'm willing to manage those cons because I really enjoy the pros. And I'm going to push it to my clients because I believe that the pros are really worth it, okay? And I believe that I can help clients manage the cons if they even end up feeling those cons. So like I said, pros and cons to everything. So when you pick something that you're going to do, you have to keep a couple things in mind. You have to keep, number one, what's going to work for you when you realistically look at the pros and cons of all the different methods, okay? I'm a big fan of try it. I don't like keto, I don't like low carb, but if you've always been fascinated by it and you always wanted to try it, then try it. See how it works. Really get a grasp on the pros and the cons. I'm a bigger fan of the idea of start slow and start with sustainable habits that aren't subscribed to any specific diet or lifestyle change, okay? You can make small habit changes. I'm a really big fan. I've been saying I'm a big fan of lately. Sorry about that. I'm a really big fan of my friend Jordan Syatt. You might know him. If you don't, look him up. He's awesome. But he has the 1-2-3 method, okay? It's eat one big salad every day, 2 pieces of fruit every day, and drink 3 bottles of water every day. So you can think of a bottle of water for like 16 ounces, okay? And it's that simple because those 3 things are very simple habits that you can do. We all know that salads are relatively healthy because you're including lots of vegetables. Fruit is healthy, and we should be drinking more water. So if you can start that basic and just get the hang of those things and create those things habits, then you're well on your way to creating better habits for yourself, okay? You're well on your way to making a lifestyle change. And that's really, really important because when we go into something, especially on New Year's, like this time where we all have this high pressure thinking that we need to barrel in full speed, you might make progress in the beginning, but it's going to be very unlikely that you can sustain that. And I'm sure that you've been on this roller coaster. I've been on it. I know you've been on it. Where you just go in head first with a lot of pressure, and then you end with a lot of guilt because you weren't able to really sustain whatever it was that you set up for yourself, okay? So that's why I really want to workshop these goals. I want you to go in with habits that are going to be things you can build upon, building blocks. Make it easy in the beginning. It should be easy in the beginning. I like to tell clients, show me. Oh, well, that's easy. Show me. Show me that it's easy. Do it for 2 weeks solid. And once you show me that it's easy, let's put something else on your plate, okay? But it should be slow. It should be deliberate. It should be mindful, okay? So that's where we can go back to this roadmap of your actions, okay? So assuming that this 25-pound goal is accurate, which it's probably not because it's arbitrary, we're going to use it to create action. So what are some actions that are going to end up kind of probably leading to this vision of 25 pounds? Some actions, let's use the 1, 2, 3 method I just talked about. We're going to have 1 salad daily, 2 fruits, and a bottle of water. 3 bottles of water. 1, 2, 3, duh. Bottles H2O. Okay, so now we've got 3 actions. All right, maybe another action is that you want to engage in, maybe you love strength training because you've been following me and you've seen how great it is. Maybe you want to engage in 4 strength training workouts per week. All right, so we've got 4 strength training workouts per week. We've got eating a salad, 2 fruits, and 3 bottles of water daily. Those are excellent actions. And what we're going to now do is these are your goals. This is not your goal. These are your goals. This is a vision, okay? This is a nice to have. But when you write down your goals and you hang them on your fridge, you're not writing down lose 25 pounds. You're writing down these, okay? Because these are things you can do now. These are things you can do tomorrow, this week, to help you feel accomplished. They're the stepping stones, if you will, okay? Now, there's a time and a place for writing goals like this. I would say the majority of people should stay down here. I'm even writing a lot of my health and fitness goals here, okay? Last year, I wrote that I wanted to be below 20% body fat by this year. It's doable, but I knew that the actions that I was going to have to engage in to get there, and honestly, with the way this year went, number 1, but number 2, the kind of what it does to your mental health to really focus so much on body fat loss, like as your number 1 priority, don't love it. And so I ended up not getting there. And there is this part of me, even though I know like so logically that it's wrong, there's a part of me that feels bad. I don't want to look at that number. I see it's hanging on my fridge and it says sub 20% body fat. And I'm like, oh, I don't even want to look at it because I even feel that little tinge of like, oh, you fucked that one up. But I didn't because it was a conscious choice not to do it. But if I'm feeling that way, you can only imagine like what it does to most people, okay, to have this goal up there and have things shift, okay? The reality is I did all the right things. I have been engaging in all of the right actions all year. And that's why I think we should be focusing on these because it's much more fulfilling to be able to check these things off. And guess what? If you are consistent with these things and maybe you have a coach or somebody that really knows that's guiding you through, maybe 25 pounds of weight loss is a good goal for a 6 to 9 to 12 month time period, but not a 2-month time period. Okay. You don't want to set a number that's unrealistic for yourself too. Then these actions are going to end up helping you lead to your vision. But what you're doing is instead of putting so much pressure on yourself to meet this number, which the reality is you can't control it. You can't control what your body's going to do. You can't control 100% this number, but you know what you can control? You can control these actions. And so if you get to 20 pounds or 24 pounds, then you're still going to be satisfied because you've given yourself the opportunity to focus on the actions that you are engaging in to allow yourself to feel the ways that you want to feel. And that's going to help you feel accomplished. Okay. But if you set this so rigidly as your goal, that if you come shy of this number, you're going to feel like you failed, or you're going to be engaging in actions that don't make sense because you're not going to be able to sustain this. So what happens next? You lost your 25 pounds because you did all these unsustainable actions. Now what? Can you keep that up for the rest of your life? Is that what you really wanted? Did you really just want to lose 25 pounds? Or did you want to create this new lifestyle habit change that's going to carry you the rest of your life? I know it's the latter. I know it because I know you and I know you're watching because you already subscribe to this general kind of mindset of sustainability and lifestyle habits, okay? So this is how we're workshopping your goals. So if you already have your goals written and they look something like this, and it doesn't have to be pounds lost. It can be, for example, I'll give you a great example. I have 2 goals that before I had this like kind of revelation of how to workshop these, I maybe would have written down and put them on my fridge again like I did last year. One of them is to hip thrust 400 pounds. That's a SMART goal, right? That is, what does the S stand for? Sustainable, measurable, achievable, I used to do these with my clients, anyway, SMART goals. They're number-based, right? They're number-based, they're measurable, They're all these things that are very kind of rigid and a lot of pressure, which doesn't mean it's bad. Like I said, there's a time and a place for those. And maybe we can talk about that another time. Right now we're talking about this. So I have these goals, but when I workshop those goals, my second goal is to be in the 40-inch glute club. Sorry, but it's true. My around my hips and my glutes is 37 inches right now. Partly because I've gained about 10 pounds in the last few months, but I would love to get that number up to 40 inches while keeping my waist either the same or shrinking it a little. It takes a lot of hard work. I'm talking about adding 3 inches to my glutes. Do you know how much work it takes to add like a half an inch of muscle? That's a vision of mine. I'm changing it from a goal to a vision, because the reality is I'm going to use my 400-pound hip thrust for a sec as my example. That's a vision that I have. I took it from a goal, putting it up in the bubble as a vision, okay? What are the actions that I can do that will very likely lead me to this vision, but if they don't, I'll still feel accomplished and I will still feel successful because I engaged in the actions I knew that I needed to do, okay? So in order to hip thrust 400 pounds, I likely need to engage in some kind of glute movement 4 days a week. I need to have appropriate volume. I need to have appropriate intensity, probably 75% of the time, 80% of the time. Got to give yourself wiggle room for days you feel like crap, periods, stuff like that. And I need to have a program that reflects all of that, okay? So my goals then, my actions are going to be engage in glute exercises, utilizing progressive overload and smart programming 4 days per week. I need to make sure my diet's on point to gain muscle, because if I'm eating too little, then I'm not going to gain muscle. So I need to make sure that I'm eating at maintenance, if not slightly above, for a certain amount of time. So I have a roadmap for how much I'm going to eat at certain amounts of time, okay? I need to write down actions that I can engage in right now today, okay? Does that make sense? So those are the actions that I'm going to write down. I'm not going to write down that I want to hip thrust 400 pounds. I'm going to start with my vision and I'm going to work backwards. How can I get there? I'm going to work backwards, okay? If you have a goal of saving $12,000 a year, in a year, how can I save $12,000? Well, divide it by 12 months, it's $1,000 a month. How can I save $1,000 a month? Where do I need to cut back? And those are your goals, okay? Save $1,000 a month by reducing or creating a grocery budget, by cutting out going out to eat, which I'm sure you'd be very successful at right now in these times of COVID, okay? You work backwards, you create actions, and the actions are now your goals, okay? I promise you that this is going to be a much more sustainable and healthy way to create goals that you can actually feel good about and you can actually accomplish, okay? So workshop it. I would love to see this. If you want to chat more about it, shoot me a message, comment below, show me your workshop goals. This is something I feel very strongly about, and I think that it can really change the way that you move into the new year, especially this one. I saw like this meme or something, because everybody's got this big idea like 2020's over, 2021's going to be my year. I'm going to lose this weight, or I'm going to, achieve that degree, or I'm going to whatever it is, 2021. Okay. It's really no different than 2020 as of right now. Everything's still the same, right? Nothing's really changed yet. So we have to be realistic. And I saw this meme thing that was like, go in, don't make eye contact, don't touch anything, just, go slowly. And I really think that that's like really true. So zone in, workshop your goals, create actions that are going to be sustainable and manageable. Okay. Real quick, before we go, I want to let you know that I have a challenge starting in February. I'm so excited. I've gotten a lot of requests. I've done a lot of challenges in the past. If you're new here, challenges are usually a fun way to get some strength training programming, nutritional guidance, me as your coach, for a really low monthly cost, okay? So I have a challenge starting in February. I currently have a waiting list up right now. More information's to come. If you want to get on the waiting list for the 12-week challenge that starts on February 1st, I believe it is. That makes sense. It's an easy date to remember. Then hit my link in the thing. There's a place to like put stuff. I think it's like a caption or something. It's going to be there. strengthbyjamiebarroso.com/challenges and get on the waiting list for that. I'm really excited about this one. So hope to see you there. That's it. Thanks for coming to my coffee talk. This was fun. If there's any particular things you want to hear about or talk about, comment below, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and I will see you soon. I'm hoping to do these every 2 weeks. maybe every week. We will see. I'll post them whenever I want. No frills, right? Real talk. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.